Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Core Energy Experience. I'm your host, Kurt Bruckmann. I hold my mastery in core energy dynamics. I am a certified global expert coach. I am an internationally acclaimed best-selling author in an anthology, Ready, Connect, Grow. I also am a senior contributor writer for Brains Magazine, which reaches out to 65 plus different countries. I want to welcome a very close friend of mine. He happens to be down under, so very special that he's 12 hours away and he's up at this hour to be with us. He is, again, someone I've known for some time and very fortunate to have him on with us today. His name is Justin Gates. Justin is a training supervisor for Rio Tinto, which is a large commodity organization, and Justin's going to talk about that a little bit today. So we're very excited to have our conversation and discuss various forms of Justin's travels in life and how that is. So Justin, please kick us off and give us a little bit of background and let us know where you've been, where you are, and how are you doing. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for the introduction, Kurt, and thanks for having me on. I'm grateful to be, I guess, a part of your new adventure and your new project, and I guess even just in the short time that I've got to meet Alex, it's yeah, you got a great thing going. So thanks for having me on, and I guess I appreciate you, thinking so highly of me to, I guess, add value to what it is that you're trying to build.
So kind as always. Excuse me, I just want to jump in there and give some gratitude for you. It's very nice of you to say all that, Justin. But hey, man, you got a lot of makings in there, and we connected for a reason, and we're going to go about that too, describe how that happened, and talk about that a bit too. So take it away, my friend.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, I'm currently at work right now. Like Kurt says, 12 hours ahead. Currently located in the Pilbara region of Western Australia. It's in the northwest corner of the country, pretty much the heart of all the iron ore, where all the exports are pretty much mined and then sent by rail to the ports up north, where it's then sent further on for further processing. China being probably the largest consumption of the iron ore here,
Wow.
followed by other. Yeah,
So you're in the pits, yeah?
yeah, yep. So it's all open cut. I guess I'm not physically, working in the pit, so to speak, anymore. Yeah, used to do the drilling and blasting for Rio Tinto, uh, and yeah, even before that, a lot of I guess when I first moved. Well, I guess at that point when I first came to Australia, I didn't think I was going to move here. But yeah, when I first came, I ended up getting a job as a driller's offsider on a work holiday visa, and yeah, it was interesting. It pretty much I was a laborer, basically doing what the driller needed to basically keep the drill operating and I guess producing the samples, which then get analyzed by the geologists and all the data analysts to pretty much draw up, I guess, a future mine plan and feasibility and yeah, so it's I guess I did that for four 4.5 years with a primary company. I can I guess when we think about transition, I can kind of get into that a little bit later around sort of why I jumped in and out of so many companies after that initial round of employment. But yeah, I guess that first job I had as a driller's offsider, I ended up learning how to drill very quickly within a year, and we were living in a caravan, you fly into this remote place, a couple hours out of Perth, get in a vehicle and drive on a sand track couple hours away in the middle of nowhere, staying in caravans and cooking your own food and packing an esky, which is same thing as a cooler. And yeah, pretty much just yeah, you pretty much spend your full 13 hours on the rig and just producing samples and yeah, so that was a really interesting job. I guess I went, that was in January of 2012.
If you excuse me, I got to jump in there. It sounds like a rare form of camping, if you will, what you do out there in the middle of nowhere for business. God bless you that you do that. That's fantastic. You mentioned something about transition, and I just want to take us back a little bit to how you and I met, and let's discuss that, Justin.
Sure. So I guess I met Kurt when I was playing ice hockey for Rumson Fairhaven High School, and yeah, Kurt was head coach of the junior varsity team and assistant coach on the varsity. So yeah, I guess Kurt was always sort of looking after the defensive end of the bench, and but yeah, I'm sure I kept them entertained while I was out on the ice, and yeah, that was a great 4 years. And I guess even Kurt's even Kurt, Kurt has a nephew. It's the Scotty's got a family that it's some heritage in the area. I guess being a little bit older, and so yeah, it was yeah, a lot of special moments and a lot of great times.
Yeah, fun those years at RFH hockey. It was really, for me, it was very exciting. Coming out of the commodity pits, which you've identified with, uh, and being a trader up there on the floor to rush out and catch the ferry down there to be down there for that 3:15, practice that we would have a few days a week was exhilarating for me. But most importantly, Justin, was meeting people like you because of the way you were a creative hockey player. As you mentioned, you were entertaining a little bit out there, and that's just let the audience know Justin was one of the top scorers, not just that in that time frame, but was reaching for a record. And I wanted to talk about that because Justin, you had a chance. What was it, to tie the record or break the record? And describe to the audience what happened in that moment.
Yeah, so I guess you just brought up a point that I just, I often don't think about. And it was, I guess, in senior year, which is, the last year of high school, uh, pretty much sitting around that 90 mark of breaking points to basically break that 100 mark, which only one other person had done. Actually, yeah, two people before me. So I guess it was, I was definitely aiming for that mark. And one of the games at home wasn't feeling that great. Kind of had the flu or something happening. And I remember I just, tried to get the team revved up. We were, I tried to basically, being one of the smallest guys, throw one of the biggest hits, and I ended up getting injured. Pretty much kind of getting folded in between sort of the ice, the boards, and the biggest guy on their team. And so, yeah, I ended up fracturing some vertebrae, and I guess it was pretty scary. The legs went numb right away, and I guess yeah, you're never more grateful for what you have after a moment like that when things do start to improve. And yeah, I came back with a vengeance, and yeah, I went for it, and I got as many points as I could. And to be honest with you, I can't quite think of the amount because you know, it's not, it wasn't all about that. But I guess I'm proud to say that yeah, my name's hanging up on a banner in the high school right now in the gymnasium for I guess reaching and breaking that mile mark.
Yeah, that's right. And remember, one of the games, it was towards the end of the season, I think the last game of the season, and you were out on the ice for the last minute, and you went on a breakaway, and there was just you and a defenseman, and you could have shot it at the goal and probably scored because you had a beautiful shot, uh, and added on to your record. In fact, you would have broken, I think, one of the two that was around 100 mark. And instead, you being who you are, decided to dish it and feed it to your teammate and let him score the goal. And everyone on the bench froze. Like, why did Justin do that? Why didn't he shoot and break the record? And I just looked at everybody and I said, that's your captain, guys. That's what he does. He's a team player. And that energy that you brought on a consistent basis to each game, just like that, not just that particular game, but all games you were like that. And the energy you would bring out there. And as you said, you weren't the biggest guy, but you're certainly one of the fastest and then best skilled. And you're nominated captain for a reason. Your teammates really applauded the way you treated them and how much you were into it. So that moment I've recalled so many times in my head when I look at hockey now, and certainly when I visit some of the Rumson Fairhaven games, which is rare, but it is that moment, Justin, that really helped define who you are.
Yeah, there was a lot of great times, and I think having played travel hockey at a pretty high competitive level growing up, I guess, I just appreciated the game for what it was. And I was, I guess I had a little bit of a different way of operating. As you know, I was not in the gym. I was not that guy that was, taking it too seriously. I was showing up and pretty much had an agreement, with the head coach. I just said, listen, if you don't bother me during the off season, I promise you I will show up ready when the times comes. And I feel like I've done that consistently. But yeah, here's a funny one for you, and I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember when we were pretty much tipped to get absolutely beaten up badly by Middletown South?
Oh yeah.
And and Todd Todd ended up throwing me a pass, and I ended up pretty much getting a breakaway from like the red line with an open net. And I basically went down and I tried to do every stick handling move you could imagine, putting it through my legs. I think I was trying to break a record for the most stick handling skills in one run, and I ended up mistiming it and ended up hitting the post on an empty net. And that's when I knew that I unleashed the beast energy in that team, because they pretty much all jumped over the boards. They all charged at me on the ice. The game was called off, and they apparently, I remember that they pretty much went to their locker room. They ripped the door off. They damaged the room, and I think that was potentially the start of Middletown getting their own ice arena, because I don't think that they were welcomed back in Red Bank after that. So
That's about right.
I guess I've contributed to society in a meaningful way by maybe potentially speeding up the ice rink in Middletown.
Always thinking out of the box you are. That's part of the energy that you bring, and it's fabulous stuff. But it was really
Yeah,
such a great time to see you guys develop, and you were so into being teammates, and all how all that meant. And it was a very good team. We competed at the high level. I went to the states that year, but it was filled with a lot of characters. That's for sure. So for you, be nominated as captain and to be the keeper of the circus, so to speak, because it was at sometimes that way, and you guys wanted it that way. But you beat everyone you played, so there was no reason to down coach it. Just let it be. Let the energy play itself. And you guys are very good with that. And hockey is so full with in the core energy, you speak of four main concentrations, which all people have, and that's performance, leadership, well-being, and transition. And ice hockey is the epitome of all that. It's got all of it built into it. And of course, transition. The average touch of a puck is about a second and a half. But that being said, you're constantly moving on the ice, getting on, getting off. Sometimes we're creating plays and they get broken, so you have to recreate. So that's a big part of it too, which is much like life. I played too, Justin, and for me, I always lean into my hockey experiences and what that meant when I sort of get stuck mentally, and just keep transitioning. Know that that's going to take us out of where we might be in the moment. So let's talk about that a little bit, Justin, because after Rumson Fairhaven, obviously you you took leave to go other places and ended up in California, and then eventually ended up to where you were. So we're doing a little bit of the backtracking here to get you where you started off the conversation. But I do want to discuss your transition and how you felt about your performance and all you were doing. Obviously, your leadership skills are very resounding, and then well-being. You have to take care of ourselves. So, uh, if you will, let it go.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I guess, yeah, I guess I appreciate you, wanting to take an even further step back, because I think that, yeah, thinking about it, and I think about this often, and I do thank my parents all the time, because the amount of sacrifices that they made for me, for 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 my skill development and character development within ice hockey, I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for my parents. So,
Okay, got to give gratitude.
yeah, so if it wasn't for that, and if it wasn't for ice hockey, I don't think I would have the dynamic disciplines that I have. And I guess the just being mentally agile to cope with transition. But I guess, I didn't come from a family of money. And I remember when I moved to Fairhaven, in halfway through fourth grade, and I just remember I came from North Jersey, Bloomfield to be specific, and I just remember just kind of looking around the area and just going, "Wow!" I was like, "This is pretty eye opening." And I guess, with 80% of, the community working in Wall Street like yourself, it you respect those who take risk and really push themselves for growth and do what it takes to live in that edge. Because if you're always living in a comfort zone, you're never going to grow. And I think that, knowing all of that too, I knew that my parents were not going to have a trust fund for me to go to school. And I was never one of the most studious people, and I just was more focused on having fun and focusing on surfing and whatnot. So I think that that probably was the start of me going to Southern California. So I went out there. I surfed. My main goal was to do the bare minimum school, just enough to surf for the community college, which allowed me to be part of the team that we traveled up and down pretty much Southern and Central California, and yeah, pretty much just surf scholastically. And that's where I really refined my surfing, and even taken a lot of trips down Mexico as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, Justin, because you said a couple of things there. One is, you want to be uncomfortable getting comfortable. You don't want to be the other way around, right? That doesn't work. And then the risk taking. So that's that conscious choice, right? And understanding what risk is and take conscious risk instead of that knee jerk reaction risk. And that's not necessarily rewarding or the way we want to act or how way we want to show up. So, you're speaking the language all the way through. Very cool. And the fact that you're a surfer, you're out west there experiencing new stuff from the East Coast. I mean, that's a big jump.
I guess before I continue on that, it's sort of, you know, I to this day make a lot of sacrifices. As you know, I can't just get in my car and go see my parents and go see my sister and my you know my nephews. And I guess that, I'm always thinking about, like, what an amazing brotherhood of friends that I have back there. Like, when I go back there and visit, even people like yourself, it's like whenever I'm back, I'm always reminded of how much, I am sacrificing being out here. And that's why I am out here, and I'm taking risks calculated all the time to make things better, because if I wasn't, then what's the point of me even being out here? So it's, it's really sort of reaching beyond that horizon and just seeing where it goes. Because, yeah, I miss my parents a lot, and I miss my friends. But I guess that it when we talk about gratitude, the fact that when I do get back there, and it's like we pick up right where we left off, I Like that's true friendship right there, and true brother. Like I can't emphasize that enough. And I know that at some point they all will watch this, and they all know who they are, and there's not many of them, but there's some great history there. And I guess, yeah, it's and now I'm fortunate to be able to say, hey, whenever you want to come visit, it's the environment and the situation here is stable and it's safe, and we can really enjoy the time.
Being down under, man, that's exactly right. You know, it's a big move, and but again, it's part of who you are, and certainly understand the fact that missing loved ones is not easy wherever we are, but particularly when you're that far away, you just can't, like you said, get in a car or hop on a quick plane ride and whatnot. It's a whole trip. So when I'm out and I see the boys or anyone that knows you, we relate pretty quickly, and your name comes up, and nothing but really nice things and beautiful things are said about you. People don't forget, Justin, as you well know. And you're coming back here. Everyone looks forward to it to celebrate and enjoy the energy that you bring, because you just bring fantastic energy wherever you are, and you keep proving that to wherever you go. And then, so when you're out in California, what triggered the moment to leave California and move on?
All right, well, here's a story for you. So I guess
That's what we
I've
like. That's what the audience
yeah,
wants to hear, man. Get those stories.
I
Let's go.
know.
Let's
So
go.
yeah, and yeah, without naming names, a few of those friends I was mentioning before were even involved with this night. So when I was back in New Jersey, I'm a hardcore Rangers fan. I've been Rangers fan my whole life, and I'm not going to say no to going to a Devils game at the Meadowlands, which is where they used to play. When three of my good friends were there, and so yeah, we went out. All I'll say is that we had quite a few beverages, and it turned into it turned into quite an interesting evening. The arena was pretty empty, so we kept kind of working our way down the lower rows and getting closer to behind the net.
Sure.
And then yeah, as the game went and the rowdier we got, at the very sort of tail end of the game, right when it was stored about to go into overtime, the puck hits the crossbar and it comes into the crowd. We all jump up to get it. Someone behind me. At this point, I'm like sitting now one row back from my friends, and just because I was rooting against the Devils now at this point, like, and I was like rooting for like Atlanta Thrashers or something. You know what I mean? Like a team that I would never.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
You New
So
Jersey
now,
boy gone south.
no, representing the Rangers.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so I ended up getting sort of pushed over a row of seats, and then next thing I know, the security guards coming over, like they were already keeping an eye on us. And I didn't know this at the time, but my dad's friend, um, this was years later, was at that game with his son, and he told my when the story kind of surfaced and that guy ended up realizing that it was like my friends and I, he was literally at that moment kind of tapping his son on the arm saying, and it was like being projected on the big screen, like, hey, don't do that kind of stuff. And like, so we don't be like them. So we ended up like getting brought out to like the concession ring, and I guess this is, we were really sort of trying to negotiate our way back into the arena. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw one of the security guards charging at me. And I guess split second decision. And I guess that, this is sort of where, some of the decision making process wasn't great. I'm not 100% proud of it, but it was definitely an eye opening moment where I ended up sort of stepping back and sort of grabbing the the security guard's shirt and sort of displacing his weight and sort of kind of moving him past me, and sort of the momentum sort of led to him kind of turning into a bowling ball at his partner's feet. And so that's when it was like I was with a friend that was two friends that were playing like high level lacrosse in college, university, and another one, playing high level ice hockey. And with me surfing all the time, like you basically had four young guys that were absolutely at their peak fitness, and that's when it just we all got involved, and that's when, well, actually three of the four got involved.
You're talking about fist fight?
It was more of like a wrestling match, like a Royal Rumble. It was like something that you would see out of like WWF.
Ah,
And
okay.
so
Okay. I thought you were talking about, blood coming out of the spitting tooth out of the mouth, things like that.
no, I honestly, I don't think I would be here if it was that. There was a lot of like them trying to contain us being physically fit. We were kind of always able to come free, and sort of, you know, to the point where they ended up calling for backup. And I guess every public service worker, so state troopers, police officers, security guards, all had to rush to that area.
Is this your 15 minutes of fame?
This was a wild moment. So I ended up it. So I guess after like 15 minutes of just absolutely just brawling, we ended up getting put in the holding cells, and we ended up. I ended up waking up on Christmas Eve, and with very sore, ripped clothes, and two tickets, and one of them underage possession of alcohol. That one was ultimately dismissed because they didn't have any proof, but
Right.
um, the other one was basically inciting a riot because we had contained all of law enforcement in one area. So, like, I look back at it now, it's very serious because God forbid something happened on the other side of the arena.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No one would have been there to help. So
Right.
I guess, yeah. So that was that was sort of the start of me coming back, because when I was in California, I was working at Red Lobster as a busboy, making like the worst money that you could ever imagine. And it was, all you can eat shrimp night was not going to pay that level bill and continue fund my surfing adventures.
So if I understand, you were at the game here in New Jersey, you got into the brawl, and of course led to a ticket, and fortunately that was it. But what was it that made you, start to transition from California, you know, uh, to New Jersey and then forward to where you are now?
Yeah. So I needed, first of all, I needed to, yeah, attend a court session, and go pay a fine. And yeah, that was I'll put it this way, it wasn't a nice courtroom. There was a lot going on in there, and yeah, that was an eye-opening moment. And so yeah, I guess I grew up working on fishing boats. So I ended up working as a deckhand, and I ended up finalizing my captain's license. So I worked on charter fishing for many years. In that time, as I was putting myself through school to become a phys ed and health teacher, because the original goal was to be teaching in the winters and fishing in the summer, that's when I ended up meeting Chris O'Donnell, who ended up putting me in touch with Frank Delaney. And that's how I ended up basically getting a job on the trading desk. And in June, July of 2011, I'll never forget it. Frank pulled me over to his desk and he said, "Hey, cowboy," because that's what they used to call me, because I was just absolutely I was going for broke every day, and
Sounds
boom bust.
appropriate.
Yep. So yeah, it was, he pulled me over and he goes, "I want to point something out to you." And I thank Frank for this, because, this led to many other things down the track. He pointed out the technical charts of Freeport McMoran. He showed me the currency of the Aussie dollar, and he said, "Mark my words." He goes, "We are witnessing the top of a major cycle right now." And that's what really sparked my interest in Western Australia, because I was like, what's going on out there? I want to see for myself what's going on out there. And that was in June, July of 2011. And I was on a plane to Western Australia, January 2012.
Wow. So it's really the real big transition happened, uh, as you pointed out. The hockey little brawl in the stadium was something that shifted your energy, but then you found the trading desk, and that was another shift there. And to be so in tuned into the trading game and realizing that Australia is filled with commodities, and to have the understanding to perhaps take that conscious choice and to trust your process, which is all part of understanding core energy, to take that that opportunity to be able to expand yourself and to enjoy a different sense of Justin and a new experience, of total new experience of energy, which is fabulous, Justin. So we have a few more minutes. What else would you like to add into that experience of shifting from the California into back to home to New Jersey, into the trading game of commodities, which is not easy, rough and difficult. As you know, I was in the commodity pits, and certainly appreciate all that you'd said. And in that itself is something that's very unique. And we're back to yourself again, being so unique. What do you think really pushed you to go to Australia and keep you there?
Well, I guess it's it's surrounding yourself with positive people who will always will always encourage you to keep being yourself. And I guess, like, we could, if I come back on another episode, I could specifically talk about the whole immigration process here, of what it took for me to become a citizen here. Over a decade it took. But I guess I just want to I just want to, I guess, give a lot of thanks to my wife Shauna, because she definitely believed in me, sort of, when I was almost at the cusp of giving up on Australia because of the immigration policy.
Sure.
And I guess, yeah, so she's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And yeah, so
That's awesome.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. And I guess, when I had met her, she had two little kids, boy and a girl, Ewan and Lily. And so, 8 years later, I've been their only father figure. And, I sort of I feel like I'm kind of the older brother, like we have a pretty easygoing, loose relationship. But, they also keep me in balance with what's real in life and what isn't real. And I guess the perspective of, it's easy to get lost in the moment. And I think that, it's always having the grounding crew to always be able to speak with and kind of recalibrate, if you will.
Yeah, it's interesting, Justin. You've been circulating about a little bit your core energy of family and how deeply the understanding of family means to you. And in that, there's a lot going on, as we well know. Everyone's got their different dichotomies, but family is an anchor, as we all know. Our listeners and our viewers are understanding all what this means, and seeing that gratitude that you give to your loved ones is really important, really touching. And I'm sure that they appreciate you very much. I know your dad. I see him occasionally when he's out playing his saxophone with the band, and of course, the conversation always goes to you and about you and how much he loves you, and really again misses you as well. But that being said, we understand you're in a good place. You have a beautiful family there, and that can really be the anchor to everything in life. And we need more of that in today's world, Justin. As you know, the family, nuclear family, is a little bit different these days. It's not, you get married and you stay married and you work through your issues. You stay around family, wherever that may be, in whatever town or state or country. It's, family is very meaningful. And the fact that you've been able to talk about that wholeheartedly today, we really appreciate that. That's fabulous.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think that, yeah, that's unwavering, and I think that, another component to it is just, building good routines and disciplines, and just trusting that your disciplines and your routines will help you weather, the volatility bouts, because there's going to be things in your life that you can control and you can't control. And I guess, being a surfer, being a trader, being, like, you just have to trust that you just kind of have to view it like a tide. It's going to come in and it's going to go out. Sometimes you get those really, really extreme tides, and it's just having the the belief in yourself that you can do it, and you'll be all right. You just can't give up on yourself, number one, and you need to look after yourself, number one, because if you're not looking after yourself, then how are you expected to look after other people, especially as a family man, as a leader? Like, there's always people like needing the support. So it's always important to refill your own cup.
It's so true there, Justin. And if I may, with the core energy dynamics, I mean, you're striking on so many of the attitudes, and you have expressed your understanding of it to the audience, and we're getting a lot out of it. So I appreciate that. One thing that one of uh, the attitudes I work with in the core energy dynamics is explaining a process, and it goes like this: there's awareness first. With awareness comes the acceptance. With acceptance comes the validation. And this will open up the availability for opportunity. And with opportunity, we choose conscious choice, not knee jerk, conscious choice, which is what you've been discussing. And with that conscious choice, we're able to go in and trust our process because we've been doing the interior work so we can deliver to the world in kind the way we desire. And once we've gotten to that trusting the process, which is very important to work within yourself, believe in yourself, and don't give up, to your point, we move into our transition. And when the transition happens, then we are coming into our transformation. And in life, we're constantly doing all these things. And there's one of the things I like to push out there is to remember that no matter what we're going through, whether they're high times, low times, flat times, whatever there is, there are just moments because time does one thing and it changes. So we're in constant flux of time. And the sooner we understand that and get into that, the more availability we have to work on ourselves, believe in ourselves, not let the inner critic take us, move away from fear. Fear is just an alarm clock to let it know it's coming. We accept it, take it in as it is in the moment, and then release it. We don't hold on to fear. And once we do all that, again, where our safety is the understanding of time and that things are going to keep changing. So embrace it, if you will.
Exactly.
And I thank you very much, Justin, for explaining a lot of that. With just a couple more minutes, I'd just like to thank you very much for coming on and being very open about speaking about your travels. And I know it was a bit abbreviated, and there's a lot more to come. So I do hope that you will come back on and join us again sometime, Justin.
Yeah, no, yeah, I guess it's moments like this, and you bring up a point where, like, when I came into this, I tried to have a little bit of a think about, a little bit of a reflection, and I think that it's important to remind yourself, I guess, of, no matter where you are in life, that you have come from a place. So if you can think about, where do you want to be, where do you strive to be, I think that it's always important to reflect on where you came from, because it's quite easy to get, hard on yourself if you're not where you want to be. But it's, yeah, you have to, and I guess talking through all of this, like with you, and it's a constant reminder to myself that, you know what, hey, keep going, keep pushing. And so I think that if that's one message that I can say is, yeah, don't be too hard on yourself, and just be gentle on yourself.
Yeah, a part of also part of what we speak about in the core energy dynamics is exactly that. The inner critic we all have that comes into us, and then the limiting beliefs. These are things that we need not hang on to. Life's very different these days. So, what our grandparents and our parents were teaching us, or children, how we should orchestrate ourselves in life, it's all new ball game. As you see, life was changed dramatically since the analog 2000 YK. We were all going to go dark because of the changeover to the computer systems, and now with AI coming here. So we're in constant flux, and this is why I really want to keep talking about the core experience to everybody, so they understand that that's okay. To your point, it's okay. Look what you've done. You've come from northern New Jersey to the shores of New Jersey, become an accelerated hockey player in your right, out to California to extend your desire to surf, and then back here for a quick touch trading game, learning how that is, and that's constant transition in there, high performance level, have to take care of yourself and the well-being and be a leader into yourself so you can lead the rest of the way to people around you and to the world that is. So it's really phenomenal that you are taking the big step and been out, you've gone down under, into Australia. And I appreciate coming on at this hour in time, Justin. Of course, it's 12-hour time difference for everyone who might be interested. And Justin took aside some precious sleep time to be here, and he's going to get ready to go to work soon. So, Justin, we really appreciate it. And
Anytime, Kurt. Anytime. And yeah, it was. I guess it. It's. I. Yeah, I'm excited for you. I couldn't think of a better person to embark on an adventure like this. And you got Alex as well. He's motivated. He's keen. And I guess I'm very excited for what you guys have started. And I'm fortunate to be a part of it in the early stages. And yeah, I'm anytime you want to have another chat, I'm always keen.
Absolutely. We're going to do that. And I would just want to point out that Justin gave some gratitude to someone who's very important to this podcast. He's my partner. His name's Alex Fabio. He's the associate director and the co-producer. And we had a little tech problems going on from here to Australia. And Alex found his way through it and connected Justin and I. So you want to give him high gratitude, and we really enjoy and love Alex to be on with us, and I'm glad you two had a little time to talk and whatnot. You guys have this similar demeanor. You're very good about being within yourselves, even though things were getting a little higgly-piggly and we didn't know whether this is going to happen. You guys remain calm, which is extremely important as part of our core energy, how it works. And with Alex, you two figured it out. I was in the sideline cheering you on, so just goes to show you two now become friends, and I'm sure you'll be friends for forever. And that's part of who you are, Justin and Alex as well. So I want to put that out there. And I want to tell the audience, please, however you're tuned into this, whatever platform you're on, please stay and press the button for our next episode, which will be a weekly episode, so we can talk more about the core energy, how that works for our guests, and how it works for you as part of the audience in every way possible. And we hope to deliver a lot more exciting guests coming on, but we're going to have repeats, and Justin's going to be one of them. So I thank you, my friend.
Anytime. Happy to be a part of it.
You're a beautiful man. All right. So you stay well.
Thanks, Kurt.
Until we talk again, which will be soon. And again, thank you very much for your candor and all your energy today. It was fabulous.
Anytime.
All right. Take care.
See ya.
Peace.